Welcome, students. Today's assignment is all about brainstorming about a short, memorable moment, and it's about speed dating and lunch dates. And we'll talk more about that analogy a little bit later. Okay, so over the next week and a half, we are going to be writing personal narratives for the Learning Network's personal narrative contest, and you're going to write beautiful essays. But deciding what to write about might be the most difficult part about this whole writing process. So we're going to start talking about it today. So our model text today is going to come from Adam Sandler's, and Adam is one of the winners from last year, the 2019 personal narrative contest. And he writes a phenomenal essay. So you are going to read his essay here, but if you click on this link, we've got a little bit more information about the essay. This is one of those ones that the Learning Network gave us an interview with him. He reads his story to us, and we have the annotated by the author. So you can scroll down to this, you can press play.
It was my third time sitting there on the middle school auditorium
And
stage.
Adam will read the essay to you in his own voice. It's kind of fun listening to authors read their own work. There's a new layer of complexity to it. So when you read and annotate his essay, I want you to pay close attention to how he focuses on one small moment of his life. If you pay close attention, what he's writing about happens in 5 minutes, maybe less, and he's able to write 600 words and really hone in on the details of this moment because he picks a very short moment in time. When you're writing your own essays, don't try to fit your whole life story into 600 words. You won't be able to do it. It'll be a terrible essay, and it just won't work. So pay close attention to how he writes that essay. So a few ideas for your annotations for this one. Remember, 5 annotations, even though it's only 600 words. Why do you think the writer chose to focus on this small moment here? It's a moment about anxiety and a panic attack. He could have chosen so many other moments that speak to that issue. Why did he pick this particular one? Secondly, what did we learn about the writer and his world through this moment? What lines did that particularly well? If you're reading them like, hey, that line worked really well, and I learned a lot just in that one line, annotate that. Another one, how is it structured? Pay attention to the beginning, the middle, and the end of this. How does he create a beginning, a middle, and an end? Another thing you can pay attention to while you're reading this is background information. He's got to work in background information. He's got this 5-minute story, but still he works in background information. How does he do that? When you tell your own short story about a true life event, you're going to have to work in background information. How does Adam do it? Pay close attention to that. And then anything else you admire about the essay, you can take note of that in your annotations. So once you're done reading it and annotating it, go ahead and listen to Adam's interview and what he tells the Learning Network.
It was my third time sitting there on the middle school auditorium stage. The upper chamber.
I love the ability to read behind the scenes. So listen to his interview. Then scroll down to page 3. This is the annotated by the author that the Learning Network has given us. And this is incredible. Once again, we get to read behind the scenes like we did last week. So right here in the bold, that's where you're going to get Adam's original text as it appeared when it was published last year. And then where the alignment is further more or a little more further to the right, text is a little bit lighter and it's italicized, you're going to get Adam's thoughts behind this. They asked him to tell us the writing choices that he made while he was writing this whole essay. So pay close attention to that. Now, you're not annotating this part. That's too much. You're not going to annotate his annotations. That's way too much annotating. Instead, you are just going to highlight five writing choices that Adam makes that stand out to you. But pay close attention to why we're doing this. Throughout this week and a little bit into next week, you are going to be writing your own personal narrative essay. So when you're when you're highlighting his choices, remember, you're just highlighting, you can just go boop and then hit the highlight. And look, you can pick any color you want to highlight it. You can highlight it hot pink for all I care. You're welcome. When you're doing this, notice the writer's moves that he makes that you would like to try in your own writing. So keep your essay in the back of your mind, and what are some of the strategies that you would like to try in your own? 5 highlights about his writing choices. Okay, that shouldn't take long. That'll probably take about 7-8 minutes. Now you're going to scroll down to the bottom and you are going to start brainstorming about some stories of your own life, the evocative particular moments from your life that might make a wonderful essay. So break this into 2 different parts. Pull out your phone and set a timer. And set a timer for this first part right here. Don't worry about the second part yet, just the first part. So the first part, you are going to brainstorm answers to a list of prompts. Now, this part right here, the first half of this, now try this, is like speed dating. When you go on a speed date, you go into this room and there are plenty of people around, and then you get about maybe a minute to 2 minutes with each one, and you're meeting tons of different people all in a very short amount of time, and you're not committed to any of them. So you're going to go speed dating with all of these ideas. So put your cursor here. A time I took a risk. Don't think too hard about it, and then go ahead and write that down. A time I learned something about myself. A memory from my childhood I think about often. Something that happened that still makes me laugh. Something very few people know about me. Something I regret. Maybe you write a name right there. A time when I felt rejected. Maybe you write the same name on that one. Something I'm really proud of. Something that changed the way I look at the world. How am I different from most people I know? Some of my fears. A time I felt truly satisfied. A time I failed at something. An object I own that tells a lot. I like that last one. That one's a very interesting prompt. You're just speed dating these ideas. So 10 minutes, fill out as many of those as you possibly can. When you're done, at the end of a speed dating, you're going to get the number of one of these ideas and you're going to take it on a lunch date. Lunch dates are awesome. There's sometime during the week, typically noon, you meet up somewhere, you don't drive to the same place, and you go out and sometimes you pay for your own food. You don't even have to pay for unless you like them, unless it goes well. So with a lunch date, it's great. If you're like an hour into that lunch date and you're like, you know what? This is going really well. You look down at your watch and you're like, hey, I've got the rest of the afternoon free. Let's go do something else. But at the end of a lunch date, you're like 30 minutes into it, 40 minutes into it. You're like, this is downhill. This is not a good idea. That's okay, because then all of a sudden you have somewhere to be. You can just say, hey, I've got a dentist appointment. I'd rather get my teeth drilled than spend one more second with you. So this next part right here is a lunch date. 10 minutes. Set your timer on your phone for 10 minutes and do a brain dump. Look at all the possible things you just brainstormed. Which one has the most potential to make the most interesting essay? Maybe it's one of your fears or an object you own that tells a lot about you. 10 minutes and just write. Don't think about too much. Don't judge the quality of your words or what's coming out, whether or not it's coherent. Just write. 10 minutes or so asking yourself what's most interesting or memorable about this. What images come to mind? Do you picture a person, a place? Is there music in the background? Do you smell, taste, or feel anything? And just write quickly about it. Okay, so at the end of this brainstorming activity, some of you are going to be like, you know what? This worked. I have a great idea, and I'm going to use this idea for my personal narrative for this contest, and I'm really excited about it. And you're going to take and commit to that idea for this essay. Some of you will get to the end of it and be like, I thought I had a good idea. I don't really like it. You'll have a dentist appointment instead. That's okay. Part of the writing process is figuring out what you don't want to write about. Just like in dating, sometimes it's just as good to figure out that you don't like that person. And always, when you get like that idea, might have a best friend or a sibling that you'd rather take out. So there's always that. Okay, folks, so brainstorm some ideas, get them down on paper, submit it. As always, this is Mr. Bockelt. Keep writing, keep learning.